again, Mike Brailsford with Brailsford Woodworks. To show you what I've got happening in the shop, along with the wood turning I do. So I've said in the past that I'm not strictly a wood turner. I've actually started out as a furniture builder, and I've kind of fallen in love with turning. That's why I spent a lot of time doing it. But I've built everything from sleigh beds to billiard tables, and I hand built my shop, which if you go back in my videos you'll see how that came about. But one of my latest projects, a friend of mine wants a live edge coffee table. Now this slab here is a slab of longleaf pine off my property. When the builders came and cleared the lot, I had them keep the trees so I could have them milled for my shop. And when I cut the main log off of this tree, the tap roots on these longleaf pines are just absolutely mammoth, and they go very, very deep. And this root ball just looked like it lent itself to this, and so I kept it. I cut off all the extra roots I could off the side. I put it aside, and it sat and sat and sat until I was ready to have my sawyer come, and it was one of the things we did in one of the times he was here for making sawing wood for my shop. And now my buddy has asked for a coffee table, and this is what I'm going to give him. Again, it's longleaf pine. It's over 3 inches thick, I think. Take a look. It's right at 3 inches thick. And he's going to put the legs on it. He's going to get some of those, one of those leg kits. It's made out of the pipe. I've seen them used before. My son has used it on a table, and I think it'll look good. But I'm going to finish this, sand it down, finish it, and then I'm going to put urethane on it. He's not in favor of an epoxy coating on it. I can agree with him on that. I don't think on furniture I don't like it. I think it looks too plastic coated. Where a nice hand rubbed polyurethane finish can look very, very nice. So I'm going to get started. I've got my Porter Cable 4x24 belt sander, and I've got 50 grit paper in here, so it should get through this top layer pretty aggressively. And I'm going to work through the grits and get it. I'll probably finish it probably 320 on this by the time I'm all said and done. And then I'll work the side. I'll have a wire wheel that I'll hit it, and then I hand sand it some. But you want it to have some character to it, so you don't go too crazy on the edges. So here, let's get going. I know you all have had it with face masks, but I highly recommend these for sanding. So as you can see, some people might be going, why are you going against the grain like that? You hit it at a 45 and it will help actually flatten it a lot faster. So that's what I'm doing. I do have a jig that I could set up and use my router. I've got a 2.5 inch router flat bit that I can use to flatten this out. But in this case, he wants some, he doesn't want it perfect. He wants it to have some character, like somebody hand worked it, and so that's what I'm going to give him. So one of the things you want to do when you're sanding like this is don't fight the machine. All I'm doing is keeping it in place. I'm not putting any downward pressure on it at all. The machine weighs plenty to put all the downward pressure it needs on the belt. Just let the machine do the work and just guide it. I will tell you one thing, this longleaf pine smells beautiful. So I misspoke. The first grit I was using was 36 grit, very, very aggressive. Then I went through a 50 grit, and now I'm working on 80 grit. And after I finish with this one, I'm going to move to my 6-inch random orbit and work through the grits up to 320. And yeah, it's looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. So just like the belt sander, this sander you don't want to force down either. You want to let the sander do all the work as much as possible. Slight downward pressure because it's a lighter machine. But besides that, just let it do the work for you and not kill yourself. Alright, I'm on the final grit, and I'll be getting this ready for putting the first coat of finish on it. Alright, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm sure my buddy will be happy with that. Let's leave that right where it is. Alright, there's that. Blow this off. Again, this longleaf pine just smells beautiful when it's sanded. Just beautiful. My beloved Harbor Freight drill, I have a feeling, is coming to its end. It's feeling very sloppy, and some stuff was falling out of it. I've gotten a lot of use out of this drill. This thing's been great. I bought a second one we're using with a 2-inch. This I use with a 3-inch disc on it all the time. But I've used it now for 5 years and it hasn't let me down. And I have a feeling though, it could be coming to its end. Looking good, feeling good. Alright, I gotta get my shop vacuumed up, get as much dust up as I can before I start putting finish on. And I'll come back to you when I start that. Okay, so I'm ready to put the finish on, first coat. So I make my own wipe-on polyurethane. I use equal parts semi-gloss oil-based polyurethane, teak oil, and mineral spirits. And I've had very good luck with it. And it usually will take 5 to 8 coats really to get what I want. And it's worth the time. You don't get brush strokes or anything like that. I'm using a brush to put on the first coat, and then I'll wipe it off after. I had never been a big fan of working with pines until I built my shop, and now I'm getting warm to it. Let's put it that way. It has its own charm, I can tell you that. I'm still a hardwood guy at heart, but there are times when a nice piece of southern yellow pine really looks beautiful finished. I've also used some Leland cypress in some of my turning. I hope you've seen that. If you haven't, please go take a look. And the grain on that is spectacular. But even this root ball, it's got some pretty beautiful figure to it. I'm putting it on fairly liberally, and I'll let it soak for a little while, and then I'll come back and wipe it off. And the poly I'm using this time is Armor Seal. It comes from the Klingspor Woodworking store. And you can see them online, but I'll tell you, I usually use Minwax, and I think I've changed my product because this stuff is nice. It's extra money for sure, but alright, time to wipe it down. If I mentioned, I had already coated the underside just as a sealing coat. Now, I probably will be able to do one more coat tonight before I go to bed. And then I'll probably be able to get at least 3 coats on tomorrow. This thing might be done for Monday if I get it done right. Alright. Again, thank you all for watching. Please click like and subscribe. Please leave comments. I'd love to hear from you. And thank you for watching. You all take care and be safe.